Rust-based Santa here. Let's spank some Rust programmers that wah, but then make it clear they don't actually know what they're talking about. This is a video by Savvy Nick. It's a comment that is not correct because the commenter did not notice they were benchmarking zlib ng, not the original zlib. But they said, you forgot to mention that the original zlib was created in the 90s, blah, blah, blah. With time, you discover other ways of doing the same things, and you have advantage of hardware knowledge, limits to optimization. It's like comparing a rewrite from scratch to the version that's in use for 30 years. Now, they were benchmarking a rewrite from scratch. zlib-ng is a reimplementation of zlib that's much more modern. It's like 2020, I think, is the first version that came out. But let's read this pissy little Rust commenter here. Okay? No, that just isn't relevant. I'm really tired of developers being treated like and often acting like babies. You can refactor, you can learn new skills, you can actually GSD. What is GSD? Never heard of that one. This is my first time seeing that. So go suck dongs, I assume. Those are all reasonable expectations of you. If you don't want to meet those expectations, then fine, it's open source, someone else will. The point is, the guy's basically saying, you can refactor. You can refactor and it'll fix. So the original guy says zlib's old, it was written a certain way 30 years ago or whatever, and it's still that way now. Because no matter what you do, fundamentally, a rewrite gives you access to whatever new algorithms or whatever you come up with, whereas refactoring kind of keeps you in the same loop. So my response, which I won't read, but I will tell you what I said. My response was, hey, dingus, no matter how many times you refactor bubble sort, it'll never be quick sort. As many programmers know, but if you're not a programmer, bubble sort is an inefficient way of sorting a list of items. Which causes the correct sorted pair or whatever, and any item that belongs at the top bubbles up to the top. Quicksort is a divide and conquer algorithm. It's notoriously faster. For most data sets, and that's really just about it. Like bubble sort's going to be really fast for a set that is already sorted, but you get the idea. The point is, you can't fundamentally switch algorithms by refactoring unless you basically gut all your code and rewrite it. At that point, you're basically rewriting from scratch anyway. At some point, you can't change the fundamental nature of the software. You cannot change your implementation. So this guy is an idiot. You can refactor. No, you can't. He's trying to say that saying that an old C implementation being outperformed by a brand new from-scratch Rust implementation is really the fault of the C implementers not doing a good job or the C language not being good enough. The truth is that if you take a brand new rewrite that can take advantage of modern algorithms, hardware, parallel processing, all these other things, there's so many ways that you can take advantage of modern stuff that the assumptions made back when we were on all 32-bit home PCs, and, some processors may not have even had caches at all. Those assumptions don't hold up for modern 64-bit multi-process, multi-threaded, 3 or 4 level cache. We've even got 3D caches now. There's so many assumptions that don't hold anymore. So you would write your algorithm one way for a single tasking processor. You'd write it a completely different way if you wanted to be able to split it across multiple running processors. And you can't take a single tasking algorithm in most cases, the vast majority of cases, and parallelize it just by being like, well, we'll just do more of them. And even if you did, you can have a situation where the parallel processes or threads or whatever are now having cache contention, where they're each causing higher level caches to flush. And like the level 3 cache might be doing evictions because you've got all these threads pulling all this data, and they're causing each other to purge segments of the cache when they're not done with it yet, and it doesn't get pulled back up. You get the idea. You know, if you're triggering cache evictions, then shared cache evictions, that's a bit of a problem. But shared caches like that didn't exist on a single core machine. They weren't even called that. They were just processors. A single processor machine was a single processor machine, and that was the end of it. And there was a level 1 cache because there was only one cache. The 486 had an 8 kilobyte cache. I mean, if I recall everything correctly. So these people will authoritatively, loudly, angrily, you know, with a nice snarl and some serious vitriol, they'll completely talk out of their asses about how things are or how things should be, or how C programmers don't get to use this, that, and the other as an excuse. Oh, you're comparing something written for a really, really low-spec machine to that was designed to save memory or whatever over raw performance to something that was rewritten for modern machines with multiple process, whatever, multiple hardware threads. And you can't just say, oh, that's not an excuse because they could refactor it. No, they could rewrite it from scratch. Is that what you did? Yes, that's what you did. That's what you're saying. You're saying, well, they could rewrite everything from scratch. Well, if that's the case, then why don't you go rewrite the Linux kernel in Rust? And that's what it ultimately boils down to, is that the same thing can be used against you. All these people going, oh, Rust belongs to Linux kernel. All right, that's enough of this. I'm Jody. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that crap. Take it easy, guys. And stay safe out there. There's a lot of rust stations. They'll pinch ya.